Hey, what's going on, everyone? So I said I was going to respond to this reasonable questions for anti-SJWs, but I didn't want to do it all myself, so I invited some of my friends onto this thing so we can tackle some of the questions. I didn't go through all of them because a lot of them are stupid and redundant, but I just picked some good ones that we can have some fun with. So here we go.
Why is it that this feminist represents all feminists, but this men's rights activist doesn't represent all men's rights activists?
Whoa, wait, sexism all of a sudden? Ladies and men are different? So we're supposed to punch men and not hit ladies and open doors for men, but not ladies? Fuck you, get out of my face, you tiny piece of shit.
I like that guy. But no, seriously, that's stupid as fuck. Nobody says that Trigglypuff represents all feminists. I mean, in my video, I said she's the fucking apex, and I believe that. But that does not mean she represents all feminists. Clearly, that fucking fat titty dude doesn't represent all fucking male men's right activists or whatever. I mean, that's stupid. That's very fucking unreasonable. Like, how the hell did you put this in the title of your video?
Are you aware that the ridiculous buzzwords you helped to popularize, like SJW and cuck and regressive, have all lost whatever meaning they once had and only serve now as casual insults and pejoratives to derail any meaningful conversation?
Are you really actually upset that cuck no longer means a man whose wife has sex with someone else? Or are you just salty because people keep calling you a cuck? Because if that's the case, maybe you should just stop acting like such a cuck.
What is third wave feminism? Because I've often heard you folks insist that you have no objection to feminism in general. It's specifically third wave feminism that you have a quarrel with. So what is third wave feminism specifically? And what specifically about third wave feminism do you have such a problem with?
Okay, Steve, good question. How would you like me to get my answer to you, since you have me and pretty much anyone else you disagree with blocked on every social media platform that you're on? And honestly, I don't have an issue with third wave feminism on the whole. I have some problems with a few trends that exist within it, but I don't think in general the movement is entirely bad or entirely good. What I have an issue with, what many people have an issue with, is you. You're not smart. You're not an intellectual, and you're not this great YouTube thinker posing burning questions, leading the charge for feminism in the modern day. You're a man-child with a block button, Steve. And if a robust conversation about the equality of the genders is what you want, then you should probably just sit down and let someone who is more educated, or at least less cowardly than you, step up to the plate and give some questions or give some answers instead.
Why is it that you go on and fucking on about safe spaces and trigger warnings and delicate little flowers, but continue to hide behind your cartoon avatars and your childish pseudonyms? And whenever anyone calls you out on your sexist, racist, homophobic, bigoted rhetoric, you become the argument of your own scorn and are hashtag triggered, as they say.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think the part that you're leaving out is that in the current cultural climate, it's actually very risky for people to say a lot of the things that anti-SJWs say on the internet. Criticizing feminism, criticizing Black Lives Matter. These are all things that cause people to lose their jobs, their livelihoods, their homes, all of that. So instead of blaming the people who choose anonymity, you might want to look towards the people and the forces that keep these people anonymous and in fear of actually putting their face on their opinions.
Why is a literal teenager's different definition of racism from you so horrifying that you all have to go, no! No, we have to stop him! We've got to debunk him now! Ah!
Well, it's fun to react to ridiculous SJW content, especially when it's just so batshit crazy. You feel like you have to debunk it. And also, YouTube used to be all about conversation. I mean, there's plenty of things trying to stop us doing that now, like YouTube Heroes, etc. But there used to be a button where you could actually hit video response and respond directly to a video. YouTube is all about conversation. It is a global platform for people to talk to each other, and that's what it's used for, and that's why people do these kind of videos. And also, it entertains our audience, which is the whole point of YouTube, is to entertain and start conversation.
If you say you're an egalitarian, will you call out the man-hating slurs that you see coming from people within your community? People who use terms like cuck, beta male, faggot, or mangina? All of these things basically distill men down into thinking that the most important thing about them is to be having sex with a woman. That's rather offensive. So what are you doing to stop this kind of behavior in your community?
cuck, beta male, faggot, and mangina. Those are like my favorite words to use to people. But in all seriousness, here's the thing. Here's the difference between us and you, all right? We are not afraid to offend people. If someone's being a cuck, I'll be like, this guy's being a cuck. Why am I gonna stop calling him that just to not be offensive? Sometimes it's okay to offend people. Like if someone called me a fucking cocksucker or an asshole, and I'm being an asshole or cocksucker in their eyes, I'm not gonna be like, oh, everyone, please circle around me. Please tweet him, tell him he's wrong. That was so rude and offensive. That's the difference between us and you. We can handle offensive words or behaviors, whereas you guys hide in a corner, disable comments, disable your ratings. I don't want it, la la la, safe space. We don't care about safe spaces. Be open, and I am an egalitarian. It's fucking, I'm equal, and I'll be a dick equally to both sexes.
You denied that systemic racism against black people is like a thing in general? If so, what? Okay, just step up, just cover your ears for a second and let the smart people talk. If not, why is it so much more important to you to demonize groups like Black Lives Matter than to actually use your platforms to discuss actual solutions to issues surrounding race and racism?
All right, retard, let me tell you this. Systemic racism does not exist in the United States for black people. And why is that? Because there's people like you and I that could make a living, make decent money just off of YouTube. There are people that could be fucking in sanitation. There's people that are fucking astronauts. We have black astronauts, you know. We got people that have fucking walked in space. Literally, the sky is not the limit for black people. They can do whatever the fuck they want. Now, some people might be disadvantaged, but the whole thing is they can be like my mother, who grew up in the hood and saved up her money and moved out and raised her kids in a good environment. You know, that if there was systemic racism, that wouldn't be allowed to happen. And the thing is, I criticize Black Lives Matter because it's a fucking ridiculous ideology. And I do offer solutions. And plenty of people offer solutions when they talk about the real issues we should be tackling, like black on black crime. When we talk about those things, when we talk about fucking the disproportionate rates of crime and arrest rates and then fucking them being incarcerated, where people want to say that's systemic racism, but I'm like, dude, when half of fucking blacks, when we're only 13% of the population commit homicides in the United States, I mean, there's a fucking problem. I won't just say that it's just racism why there's a huge incarceration record, but there's just a huge fucking problem with violence, and we should discuss that and not talk about fucking systemic racism like the government and fucking white people and white supremacy is the fucking problem. You're missing the point, and you're fucking just further dividing the country.
Since so many of you profess to be admirers of second wave feminism as opposed to third wave feminism, I thought it would be interesting to ask which second wave feminists in particular do you appreciate? Which books written by second wave feminists have you read and found interesting? Which second wave feminist activists have you specifically admired as you formed the opinion that you like second wave feminism but you have no use for third wave feminism? I'm just curious.
Oh, Steve, are you just curious, Steve? Are you curious, Steve? Wow, you're just the most curious guy I know. Did you write that question down with the pen that you've always got clipped onto your shirt right there? You know, Steve Shives always in need to write something down really quick. The pen that's just inches below the baseball cap he goes to bed with and showers with, undoubtedly. If there's a question to be asked, I don't think it's why do the people you disagree with like second wave feminism and not third wave feminism. I think it's why are the people in the third wave so willing and eager to reject everything that happened in the second wave just because it didn't go far enough?
Are you willing to publicly acknowledge and admonish the massive amount of hatred, bullying, harassment, and intimidation that a lot of your fans infringe upon people? And I don't mean these tiny disclaimers that you put under the description fold or flash for 2 seconds at the beginning of the video that you know nobody reads. I mean a public and ongoing anti-bullying stance. Or do you kind of like watching your fans go around harassing people and calling them slurs and telling them to kill themselves? You kind of like it, don't you? I mean, if that's your thing, and I guess that's just what you're into, just makes you a dick.
Anti-SJWs also get shit just like SJWs do, and that's just the internet. There's some things that just come with being on the internet, and trolling and shitposting is just one of them. I mean, even if creators decided to add disclaimers to all their videos, it wouldn't even matter because you can't control your audience. Like, everyone who watches your videos is an individual, and there's absolutely no way that you're going to influence absolutely every individual. You know, you can't do that. They're going to do what they want regardless. This is the internet.
If SJWs are bad because they spend too much time whining and don't talk about real problems, then why aren't you talking about those problems instead of just whining about the other people over and over and over for literally years? I mean, in the scale of priorities, that's like even lower, right? You know, you've got the real problems, you've got the things that feminists worry about, and then you've got you going, oh, how dare they? Just, how dare they have different priorities from me? Why can't they do what I do? Whine about whining forever for a living. That's healthy.
Alright, Cuckboy Owen Wilson, and at number 4, that's where you lie because you're bitching about us bitching. So that means you're at the very, very bottom, you piece of shit.
As a supporter, as a proponent of freedom of speech, why do you want to quash academic freedom? If you're not familiar with the concept of academic freedom, it's worth, in the UK at least, looking up the 1988 Education Reform Act and seeing what that says about the rights of academics to put across unpopular opinions.
The issue with academic freedom is that students also deserve academic freedom, and they don't deserve to be silent just because they disagree with their professors.
Why do you find it so hard to believe that feminists are being harassed online?
You can't be harassed online, in my opinion. You just can't do it. I mean, just close your eyes and walk away. Just go about your day. If somebody's saying something horrible, delete the comment or moderate your comment section, make certain words blocked, and then all of a sudden you're fine.
If you've ever discussed or done a video about black on black crime, when are you going to do a video about white on white crime and what we as white people can do to solve the problems in our community?
We bring up black on black crime in the context of Black Lives Matter because they talk about how police officers killing black people is the largest problem faced by the black community, when in reality, it's actually black people murdering other black people. Therefore, it's relevant.
Why are you so obsessed with Anita Sarkeesian?
I'm not obsessed with Anita Sarkeesian, but at the same time, I think it's very important to call her out on her bullshit because she's been given very large platforms, and a lot of people, too many people, believe that she's an actual real feminist when she's just nothing but a con artist. There's plenty of footage showing her how she got to where she's at and how she doesn't even like video games, never played them before until very recent. So it's one of those things to accurately call this out. She's taken a bunch of donations, not finished any products, you know, she's just scamming her audience. It's very important to point this stuff out. So it's not an obsession. I have no obsession with her. As a matter of fact, I was kind of like, wow, she's very smart though. She's very crafty. She's very slimy. I can almost respect that to a certain extent. You know how you can respect your enemies. But the thing is, it's not an obsession. It's just very important when somebody is this big, and then when it's scary that there's this many people that believe this and they can't see through her bullshit. And so that's why I've made multiple videos on her in the past, but she kind of quieted down and then she started to revamp her stuff because obviously she wants some more money, so we called her out again. But if you look at my channel, I mean, just consistently, it's just almost not her. So there's no obsession, and plenty of other people, it's the same thing. They only talk about her when she pokes her head out and starts saying more dumb shit.
Wherever did you get the idea that racism was a self-applied identity? And if the only true racists are the racists who self-identify as racists, how can we ever expect to make any social progress to reduce racism? Or did I just answer my own question?
Literally no one thinks that the only racists are self-identified racists. No one says that. That's not a thing.
Alright, so that's all we could bear for the questions. I just want to say thank you so much for all the people that have collabed on here. Thank you guys, and make sure you subscribe to them. Their links are in the description below. I love all of these channels, and I hope you guys enjoyed this, and you'll have a wonderful day, and Papa bless, of course.
Steve, what is your life, and why are you sitting up here pretending as if you want an actual meaningful conversation when you have half the internet blocked on Twitter?